Hello, hello, welcome to the Pedestal Wife Society. My name is Braille. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is the first time you've been in one of my live streams, welcome to the Pedestal Wife Society. I'm going to wait a moment in order to let people get in from Instagram to YouTube. Right now, I'm streaming on both, but you already know the routine. I shall not be doing that the entire video. Okay, so I'm going to finish up on YouTube. So the link is in the stories if you want to continue. But let's wait a moment to make sure that you can see me and hear me before I get started and jump right into the conversation today. If you actually notice, there's two different ways that I spelled it. On Instagram, it's straight to the point, and on YouTube, I have a different title. It's still the same video. Don't get upset if you come over YouTube and it's like it's a different title. It's still talking about the same things. Trust. It's just done a different way because I do have different audiences from Instagram and YouTube, and I'm playing to those audiences. All right, so I just need a pedestal wife or inner circle member to come over to YouTube to make sure that you can see me and hear me before we jump into the content. Hello, 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 Ink 72. Hello, Miss Kira Sparkles. Hello, 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 ladies. I'm just trying to see if I recognize any of the Pedestal Wife community or inner circle members on Instagram. I think I pretty much shouted out all of them. But if you don't mind, I just need one of my girls to come over to YouTube to make sure that you can see and hear me before we get started. Because I do not want to do an entire video and then find out later on that you can't see me, you can't hear me, and there's an issue with the audio or the picture. Okay, so you can see me on YouTube. Thank you, Ink72. So let's talk about activating feminine energy and teaching people how to treat us, because this is how we're going to do it. I've been watching a lot of videos that come across my FYP about how to do this. And what I'm realizing that they have half of it, like they have half of the solution to the problem. They have half of the ways to get you to be able to teach people how to treat you well. I'm going to give you the full solution of how we should go about that. Every woman should model, not taking pictures, not walking the runway, but every woman should model. If you don't know what that term means, it is a term out of your psychology. If you've never taken it or you've never even dived deep into what psychology is, modeling is a thing. When I went to school, I was taught about modeling. And what it is where your actions align with your words. And when you model and you show up and present yourself in a specific way, people are influenced by the way that you model. Just go back. The ladies that's on Instagram, if you've been here for a while, you probably saw a lot of the content that I posted on Instagram. There was a video about a young woman asking for a Louis Vuitton item. She just wanted to go there and go shopping. Most of the men were not saying, I'm not going to buy her anything, or I'm not going to purchase her anything, or she doesn't deserve anything. Most of them were saying that she doesn't look like that she even shop at Louis Vuitton. And that is an example of modeling. When you model, you influence. You influence how your environment responds to you. And this is all science. This is the reason why it's so important that you figure out the marketing and branding that you want to present to the world, because the modeling is going to be one half of the solution to teaching people how you want to be treated. If you want to be treated well, then you have to model in a way that your actions show up and say queen. That's only half the solution. That's only half the answer. But you have to learn what am I presenting, and have some sense of self-awareness about yourself, so that you know how you're presenting, how you're showing up in the world, so that you can model. And that modeling, people are influenced by what you model. So let's talk about, after you've modeled, what is the next answer to the solution? How is the other ways that we can teach men to treat us well? And that is going to be through punishment and reward. Before you get all excited, I don't teach manipulation. I teach everyday ways to do these things in life so that you can have great outcomes, because manipulation only takes you so far. But when you use positive punishment, positive reinforcement, you're going to have better results in teaching people in specific. On your Instagram, I talk about men. On YouTube, I'm talking about men also. But I'm encouraging positive behavior from men. And how do you get that? First of all, you're going to model. You're going to figure out your marketing and your branding and what you want to show up and how you want to present yourself in the world. Through that modeling, your environment will be influenced by you. After that, you're going to do what we call in psychology is behaviorism. B.F. Skinner, the psychologist that actually did his work in this, you're going to use what I call behavior shaping. So what does that look like? The first thing you're going to do, you're going to state what you want. The second thing you're going to do is pay attention to what he does. The third thing you're going to do is you're going to reward good behavior or remove reward for bad behavior. So let's put this all together in examples that's going to be a lot more helpful. I just want to give you the formula to behavior shaping, because do a quick review. The first thing is to model so that your environment can be influenced by you. The second thing is behavior shaping, where you're going to state what you want, and you have to be observant. Then you have to reward good behavior, and then you have to take away for bad behavior. So let's say you're the type of girl that doesn't like men to curse around them. Okay? I don't like men to curse around me. And majority of men that come around me don't curse around me. And maybe you want to know what I do. Let me tell you what I do. First of all, I start with the modeling. I don't curse. That's the reason why you don't see too many of my videos when I'm using any type of curse words, because people are influenced by the things that I put out, and they're going to say, oh, well, she's not used to cursing. She doesn't curse like a sailor, so I'm not going to curse around her. And that's usually the response that I get off gate. Most people do not curse around me because I don't curse. But let's say that they ignore the modeling that I'm showing. They're ignoring the way I show up in the world. So what I would do is I would say, I'm not used to people cursing and around me. And that's because I don't curse. I would really like if you don't curse around me. That is all. I would state what I want. Then I'm going to observe his behavior. Usually a man is either going to be on board or he isn't. If he's on board, I'm going to reward that good behavior with my energy and my presence. If he's not on board, I'm going to pull my energy and I'm going to pull my presence away. It doesn't mean that I sit across him with a stank attitude. It doesn't mean that I sit across him and, he can visibly see that I'm upset, that he can visibly see that something's wrong. When you pull your energy, it's more like going in your body and closing your energy off to that person. Men can feel that. They can feel when they're closed out. They can feel when that woman is not open to them. You have to learn how to do this, and it can be used in any type of example that you can think of. Because I know someone's going to say, what about a gift? I got you. Let's talk about a gift. Because I've been married for 23 years. You think I haven't received something that I really didn't like? But I understand it is better to get one. What's better than one gift, but two gifts? So I understand how to get to be appreciative of the first gift and get another gift also. Because there's nothing better than getting one gift. It's two gifts, So let's put this in play. If maybe he gave you a bracelet that you don't like. Let's say he gives you a bracelet you don't like. First of all, if we're having a discussion and you're one of my clients, I'm going to ask you, the first thing I'm going to ask you, what was your modeling like? Like, what was your modeling like? If you're the type of girl that you wanted maybe a platinum bracelet and he gives you a gold bracelet and you're wearing gold bracelets. So the modeling is it all, because he's looking at you to see what can he receive from you? What can he, gather from you? What information you can get from how you're showing up and how you're modeling. So if you're showing him gold bracelet, but you really wanted a platinum bracelet, the modeling is off. And it's not even about it being real or fake either. Remember, it's not about being real or fake in this dynamic. You don't have to have real jewelry on for him to go get you real jewelry. all you have to do is model the things that you desire from a man, and he will be influenced by that. So if you wear like all platinum jewelry, and he comes and he brings you the gold jewelry, there's nothing wrong with going through behavior shaping, because you want him to know what you like. Like, the thing is, don't get angry, don't get mad. Trust me, everything is open to negotiation. And that's all in the film. Everything is open to negotiation. There's always ways to get the things that you desire, and make sure he understands how to treat you and the things that you want from him. So if he gives you the wrong type of bracelet or the wrong quality of bracelet, there's nothing wrong with getting the second one later on if needed. What you're going to do, you're going to go through the whole process. You're not going to be like, "Ooh, I don't like this bracelet." Don't do that. You're not going to be like, "Oh, I don't like it. It's ugly. It's not. It looks cheap." Don't do that. If he gives you the wrong bracelet, it's not the bracelets that you would buy for yourself. It's not a bracelet that you particularly like. The thing you're going to do, you're going to take the bracelet. You're going to say, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I appreciate this so much." You're going to make sure the bracelet, you're going to be like, "Yes, bracelet, bracelet." You make sure every opportunity that you can give him to show that you like that bracelet, you're going to show it off. Even when the person, like, let's say you're at dinner, out with friends, it doesn't matter. Show the bracelet off. Now, once you've shown some type of appreciation to the bracelet, once you've shown that you appreciate gifts from him, now it's time to teach him what type of things you truly like. Okay? So now, instead of saying, "Hey, I don't like the bracelet," what you're going to do is that you're going to take the time to say, "This is pretty. Thank you. This would have been so much prettier in platinum, don't you think? What do you think about that?" Okay? And then after you've done all of the showcasing of the bracelet, showing that you appreciate the bracelet, showing that you like the bracelet, even though you really don't like the bracelet, because some of us, maybe you're just meeting him, maybe you're just getting to know him. Maybe you don't know your taste yet. Even you can show up modeling all the things, and sometimes men will try to get you something you don't want. You can show up wearing all platinum jewelry and expect to get platinum jewelry back from him, and he still may try to see if he can get you something that he likes versus something that you like. Well, so what you want to do is that you want to, after you've shown that appreciation, after you've shown the bracelet off to everybody, you can show it off at. You can, at the table, hey, like, making sure you exaggerate drinking and eating so everybody can see the bracelet that he got you, and making sure that you say thank you, and you have all your energy there and you're present with him. After you have departed from the day, or departed from the evening, or departed from him, this is a perfect opportunity to send a picture of the actual bracelet that you like. And instead of saying, "What do you think about that?" just send it with happy emojis. Happy emojis, and send him the picture of the bracelet. Don't say anything. It's about getting his attention. It's about letting him see what I like. He needs to know what you like. I need every woman to understand this one thing. Every man that you've ever dated, they are programmed for the woman behind you, not you. That's the reason why you have to take every opportunity that you can to teach a man how to treat you. He does not come fully installed. Every man is trained to treat you like the other women approved of him. Some other women might have approved of him, not of cursing. Maybe the other woman didn't mind him cursing. Maybe the other woman didn't like gifts. Maybe the other woman didn't like going on vacation. Maybe the other woman, he's so used to dealing with the other woman, our brains kind of log that information. And so a lot of women get so mad because he isn't immediately treating them in a way that they want to be treated. Now, I'm not talking about now, if he is coming off gate trying to abuse you, hit on you, or do anything violent, immediately block and leave that man alone. Immediately block and leave that man alone. But don't get all upset if he doesn't get it all right on the first date. Most women get upset. But you have to realize he's programmed for the woman behind you or the women behind you, and he's not programmed for you. He's not attuned to you, and in order to treat you well in the way that you want to be treated. To him, the woman before him, she might not even wanted to go out on dates. She might not require a date. He may have just been able to Netflix and chill with all the women before you. He may have not even had to pull out the chair for other women, and you want him to do that for you. You have to take the time to use behavior shaping on each man that you decide is worthy of you. Each man that you feel is worthy to be in your space. Use behavior shaping instead of getting upset that he immediately doesn't know what to do. Because the woman behind you, she may not have known that she should move like a queen. She may have been operating like a beggar. She may have been begging for love, affection, and sex. You're not doing that. So even then, he doesn't know how to handle you or what to do with you. Instead of get upset, learn how to use behavior shaping, and you can use it in any form. It doesn't matter if it is, I want to teach him to not drop clothes off in the bathroom, or I want to teach him to pull out the dishes out the sink, or I want to teach him, like, learn how to take the time to teach men how to treat you and get positive behaviors from men before you jump down his throat, because they are trained by the woman behind you. They're trained by all the women they dealt with. He may have never even dealt with a woman like yourself. You may require more of him, and even now he's like, oh, trust me, men are always intrigued when they come across a woman who breaks out of that mold of the women behind him, especially if those women did not require a lot. And the only thing they require is like a Netflix and chill, or I think the young people are seeing a Hulu and chill now. So Hulu and chill, if that's the only thing she required, she didn't require dates, she didn't require gifts, she didn't require vacations, she didn't even require gifts. She didn't require any of these things. So take the time, instead of getting upset, use behavior shaping. It is a part of psychology. You can literally go look it up. It's called, the person who created it is B.F. Skinner, and he's a behaviorism. That's what it is, the type of psychology it is. And he talks about the fact that you have to teach people how you want to be treated through behavior shaping. So you have to be willing to state what you want from that person, observe them to make sure how do they handle that. If he's like pushing back more, as soon as you say, hey, I don't like cursing. I'm not used to being around people that curse because I don't curse myself. And then he's pushing about, hey, you're weak. Hey, where you been at? What type of woman don't curse? If he's going all down that path, you already know what type of man you have. And you can literally use this as a vetting tool to kind of vet a man out, to realize that this man is not going to be your person. He's not going to be your guy, because he's already pushing back at just doing little things that you desire in the relationship. That he is not going to be the man that's going to give you influence. And that's what you're looking for. You want to see good responses to these things, because this means he's going to willingly give you influence. A man that's not willing to give you influence is not the man that you want to marry. Any man that's decided, I don't want to give my wife influence, that marriage will not last long. And that's research that's on Dr. John Gottman. He talked about it any time that he was with couples and the man refused to give a woman influence, that marriage headed for divorce very quickly. So you want to use behavior shaping. And the other part of behavior shaping is learning how to model. You need to learn how to truly model and market yourself and brand yourself and how you want to show up in the world, so that they will be influenced by that. You may be able to eliminate all of the extra things. Trust. You may be able to eliminate all of the punishment and rewards when you learn how to model properly. When you know how to show up in a way in queen behavior versus as a beggar. If you know how to do that, and you show up properly, and you market yourself and you bring yourself well, he may come across you and be like, I have to treat this woman in this way because I'm not even gonna have a chance with her. I'm not even going to be able to get to a first date if I don't show and be the type of man that this woman wants to date. What do you mean by give her influence? A man has to willingly give you influence over him. This means that he is absolutely he cares about your opinions and suggestions. Most women don't have influence over their men, and you can see it. It's all over social media. Most women do not have influence over the men that they marry. Those men are out here doing any and everything, and it's not about control, because the man has to willingly give you influence. It's not something you can take. It's not even something that you can manipulate out of him, because men recognize manipulation very quickly. And they pretty much kick that woman back to, well, they may go sex and fun with her, but they recognize manipulation for what it is. Behavior shaping is psychology. It is not manipulation. It is day to day showing up in a way where your actions align to your words and your branding is top tier. This means if you want to be treated as a queen, you're treating yourself as a queen first. You operating from that space of being a queen and getting and treating yourself well. So when your environment responds differently versus if you're operating from being a beggar, where you're not taking care of yourself, where you look somewhat homeless, where you're not taking care of your mental health, you're just not taking care of yourself. And so when your environment responds to you, it's going to respond to the person who's a beggar, and it's going to treat that person accordingly. Versus if you decide to get your, I like y'all young kids, y'all say get on your Zoom. I'm gonna say get into modeling, get into making sure that your actions align with your words. If you want to be treated like a queen, treat yourself like one. Operate like one. Model your boundaries. Don't go out here and give a man something where you're giving beggar energy, where you're operating, acting like a beggar. You're over here begging for love, sex, and affection from a man, and not operating as a queen in the first place. But then you want him to immediately treat you as such. And that is the first step. That's where a lot of content creators we're talking about is they're dropping the ball at not letting women know the modeling matters. That is the reason why when I posted that video about the young woman who wanted to go shopping at Louis Vuitton, but then she doesn't have Louis Vuitton on. She's even presenting herself or marketing herself as though she's the type of woman who absolutely has luxury products or deals with luxury services. So you have to do that for yourself first. And then it's easier for your environment to respond to you and be influenced by you. Versus if you are a woman who operates as a, looks homeless, acts homeless, has no boundaries, has no standards, but then you're requiring a lot from a person. Because I'm going to say person and not a man, because when it comes to psychology, it applies across the board. It's not just men that you can utilize this with. It is men and women, because this is a human dynamic. It's a human perspective. This is psychology. So modeling is the first thing that you have to do. A lot of times when I go by on social media and it comes across my FYP and women are trying to teach other women how to, teach a man to treat them well, they forget about the modeling part. They forget about the boundaries part. So you have to model your boundaries. Even if you were to take something away and give something punishment and reward, even if you do that, but your modeling is off, men are actually going to ignore you because it's something is disconnected, something doesn't make sense. They recognize when something logically does not make sense. Why is she over here asking for top tier when she's literally Family Dollar? Like they recognize if something's off. Now, I'm not saying he may not give that to you. He has to really like you a lot. He has to really like you a lot if he's going to give it to you when you're operating from that bigger perspective instead of a queen. So your branding, your marketing as a feminine has to be on point. Your actions need to align with your words. If you're going to have boundaries, and for example, let's go through some examples. I love examples. I don't know about you all, but I love examples when it comes to this stuff because it helps it to be more digestible and more understandable. But boundaries. Let's say you tell a man, you cannot come over my home until there's a commitment. But then the first date you sleep with him and you let him come over to your home. Do you see where the modeling is not in alignment? And this also may lead to him not really taking you seriously and really looking at you sideways because you're not even modeling and branding yourself or marketing yourself in the proper way. Something is disconnected, something isn't working. And men recognize when it doesn't. Women don't. Women like, well, hey, why doesn't he just want to get to know me? Why didn't he want to take it further? Why doesn't he want to make it serious? Because your modeling is off. Your modeling is off. Present in a way that you want to be taken seriously. If you want to be operating and treated like that queen that you desire to say that you want to be, then please model that. Let your actions align with your words. If you're going to say that a man cannot come over to your home unless there's a commitment, then he cannot come over your home until there's a commitment. until there's a commitment. That is absolutely being the perfect model. That's absolutely being a perfect model. And if you want to, I don't know. Hey Daisy, I lost my train of thought that quick. Hey Daisy. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and complete this so I don't get distracted by both live streams. I'm gonna complete this over on YouTube so we can finish up. So if you want to continue this conversation on YouTube, then you're gonna have to click the link in my stories and it'll carry you right over here. And I see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Bye. All right. So let's get back into behavior shaping so we can talk examples because that is where the meat of this conversation comes from. When it comes to behavior shaping, and this is the reason why it's so important that every woman understands how to execute behavior shaping so that you can teach people how to treat you. Remember, this doesn't just apply to men. You will get positive behaviors from humans when you decide to state what the problem is, observe them, and then reward them or take it away if they don't give you the thing that you need. So let's go through some examples, and you can drop some down. And if you have any questions or you want to have some examples that you want to talk about, drop them down in the comment section. And we're going to talk about this because I think this is highly important. This is the missing piece to what is going wrong. So maybe you stated what you wanted from a guy, right? You stated that you wanted to go on a vacation. Let's say you stated you want to go on a vacation and you observed him and he gave you all this back talk, he gave you all these excuses, he talked about all the things he wasn't interested in. That was your cue that he really wasn't going to give you what you wanted. And see, this gives you a 2-for-1. It allows you to teach a man how you want to be treated, but it also allows you to be able to observe this man to see if he's willing to be influenced by you. If he isn't willing to be influenced by you, and then you realize that this guy may not be your person. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down on this. Never marry or be in a relationship with a man that will not give you influence. You're just going to lead to being miserable. Because a man that will not care about the things that you care about or care about fulfilling in your needs is not going to make you happy overall. You want to be seen, you want to be understood, then take the time to pay attention to when you ask him to do something for you and then he has a conniption or he has so many excuses or he's not interested or he ignores it. The worst thing, and that's one of the taxes they will do, is when they still want access to you, they try to ignore you and see if you just go away. And this is where, since he is ignoring you, he's not paying attention to you, you're going to pull your energy away from him. You're going to pull your energy and pull your presence away from him. It doesn't mean that you're angry or upset or combative with him or you're going word for word with him. It just means that your focus, your energy is no longer on this guy anymore. It's no longer here because you realize that he's not going to give you any influence. He's not going to try to fulfill your needs. He's not interested in having anything with you, not anything deep anyway. Maybe he's just thinking of having fun right now. And most of us in this community, we're dating for marriage. We're dating to get married. And so you want to make sure that you pay attention. Like I said, you get a 2-for-1 with this. You get an opportunity to vet him and you get an opportunity to shape the behavior that you want to see in the relationship. So all it is, and it's very simple, model the things that you want to bring in that relationship. That is the very first thing. This is the missing piece that social media is missing out on. Because men, people overall, humans, we can kind of see when there's a disconnect. Just like there was men in those comment sections talking about this woman didn't look like she shops at Louis Vuitton, there was also women saying, she's asking for something that she doesn't even have for herself. She's asking for, it's not even having something for herself. You can kind of tell she's not the kind of girl that does luxury. She's not the type of girl that treats herself and such. So women saw that off gate and they immediately said, well, she doesn't qualify. So it's human overall. It's not just men, it's women also. Women also call out behavior when women are not modeling that queen behavior for the things that they want. Women call it out first, actually, versus when it comes to men. So when women are seeing it and saying it, then you need to pay attention to what you're modeling. How do you want? And this is, I think this is a very good journal prompt to write down. If you're a person who likes to journal, write down, what is my branding? What is my branding? What is my branding telling my environment? Because a lot of people are influenced by the branding. If I'm a woman who's dressed up to the nines and I have all these luxury designer things on me, and I carry myself in a way where I am proud and confident and happy, and I carry myself in that way, you're going to be influenced by the way that I carry myself, and you're going to treat me differently than if you come across another person who is like homeless, or who speaks down on themselves, or who doesn't carry themselves with confidence, or who don't take care of themselves. You're going to treat those two people different. That's the reason why the modeling matters. The modeling matters because you may not even have to worry about punishment and reward when the modeling matches. Most time you don't have to, but of course, let's say you come across this clueless guy who's been dating women he hasn't had to do anything for. Just really, we live in a world now where men can get a lot of attention and sex and affection from women, and they don't have to do anything. So maybe he's been dating that type of woman for a very long time, and then he comes across you, who you're exhibiting his queen behavior, and you have his queen branding, and yes, immediately he realizes I might can't do what I used to do with other women, and I have to move differently. But you still have to be able to speak up for yourself. You still have to be able to, even when it comes to the small stuff. It starts very early on if you want to encourage positive behavior for men. It starts at the restaurant. Let's say you go to a restaurant. I ain't saying you ain't been to 5-star restaurants before, but you absolutely want to let him know that you like the restaurant, that it's something, it's a beautiful restaurant. I love this place. Oh, look at this over here. You want to have and show a sense of excitement, and tell him that you appreciate and like the things that you're seeing, because this also will be something, it's going to be a signal in his brain that she likes these things. So let me do more of it. And if he does something like, oh, he doesn't pull out the chair and you want your chair pulled out, then you can utilize that and say, hey, when you sit down, I'm really enjoying this time we're spending together, but I really am used to my chair being pulled out for me. Now, I know some people say just to stand by the chair, but if a man is not used to even doing that, he may sit down. And you have to start teaching a man how you want to be treated very early on. So everything that you're seeing, you kind of want to focus in on that, and you want to tell him, hey, I'm excited. I'm excited about spending this time with you. This restaurant is so beautiful. I'm so used to my chair being pulled out for me. And then you kind of want to observe to see where that goes and see what he's giving. And he's going to be like, well, next time I'll make sure I pull your chair out, or I'm not used to doing that. Most women don't want that. If he goes into this spiel of trying to explain to you or persuade you that you don't need your chair pulled out, you need to kind of keep that as a yellow flag. And I'm saying yellow flag because you kind of want to see if maybe he's going to change, he's going to regroup and change according to the modeling and the things that you're going to give him, and give you that influence, because he may, especially if he's never dated a woman like you. Maybe you're the first girl that had these type of standards. Like, y'all have to realize we live in a world where men can get away with not doing anything in order to receive affection and sex from women. And so maybe he's coming across the first girl that has some standards and has a way that she has to, way she lives her life. So give him the opportunity without jumping down his throat, without getting mad at him, without cursing him out. Give that man an opportunity to course correct. The feminine is very flexible. Now, she's also very firm. When she realizes that he is not going to give her that influence, he is not going to course correct, he's not going to make any changes. So if maybe he's going to say, well, oh, I didn't know that's something that girls liked anymore. And he's like, well, next time I'll pull out your chair. And then you can reward him with energy. You can reward him with a smile. You can reward him with your presence. You can reward him with your energy. Okay? If he doesn't do it, then you can pull your energy back. Men can tell when women are disconnected, when they're not present, when they're not there. And it's not based off of her cursing him out or being combative or being just nasty towards him. Men can tell when a woman is just pleasant and she's being there, she's having that conversation, but she really isn't there. She's somewhere else. She's somewhere else. And men like to say she's like in La La Land or Daydream. But that is what you're going to do. You're going to utilize behavior shaping, which is a psychological technique, in order to teach a man how to treat you. And you can utilize that. Basically, you can copy and paste it for any situation in order to teach a man how to treat you. But you want to make sure that your branding is on point. Your modeling is on point first. Don't have your branding be disconnecting from your modeling. Like, make sure that you're representing your actions and words align, that you are operating from the queen behavior and the queen energy that you want to portray. If you want to be that queen energy, make sure you're presenting that. You're showing up as that. Because we don't want him to have that discombobulated feeling, that disconnection, where he's like, something is off, something is wrong here, something is not lining up. And men tend to, their singular focus, they don't tend to try to work it out and figure out what it is. They may feel like they're tricked or there's some type of manipulation afoot. And if he feels like he's being manipulated, he's going to run for the hills, especially healthy masculine men. So you want to be careful with that. It's just like me running around sitting here saying, oh, I'm a pedestal wife, but I don't treat myself as a pedestal wife. I don't comport myself as a pedestal wife. I'm out here just cursing like a sailor. I'm out here just dressing and just putting it all on Front Street. I'm out here doing all the things that go against how I truly want to be treated. Don't have your modeling off, your branding off. Figure out what your branding is going to be. Then you can focus in on punishment and reward. You can reward the behavior that you want to see from him. Men, women, children, they have to be rewarded for the behavior that you want to continue. This is not me, because I know somebody's going to say, you're teaching manipulation. This is human nature. This is how humans learn. They learn by the rewards that they receive, and they learn by the punishments that are taken away, the things that are taken away from them. That is how they learn. And you can utilize this yourself in order to teach people how to treat you. It doesn't have to be about men only. You want to encourage those positive behavior from men or women. So if your branding is on par, you can absolutely probably eliminate part of this. Like, your branding is on par, a lot of people are not going to step to you or present you with something that you are not modeling in the first place. They're going to come correct to you because your modeling and brand is on point, and they probably won't test you. But for the other maybe like 10% of people who are willing to push back and test a person to see if they're willing to do something outside of what their branding is showing, then you need to be prepared for them. And since men are so used to getting sex and love and affection very easily from women, literally it's at discount prices, you have to be prepared for that 10% of man that's going to look at the branding and still trying and still go try to get what they want, even if the branding or the modeling is correct. So behavior shaping, you're going to do the thing of asking, stating the issue, whatever it is. Make sure that when you state the issue, you're not coming at from the point of being combative or cursing or argumentative. You just want to state whatever the issue is. Then you want to observe how he handles it. Is he going to be kind of pushing back? Is he going to try to gaslight you? Is he going to try to argue with you about it? Like I said, you got a 2-for-1 here. You get to figure out if this man is going to give you influence, or if he's willingly going to, give you that influence, and he's going to decide, okay, I can correct that. I can do that better next time. I can make sure that you get whatever you're asking for. Maybe it's a different restaurant. Maybe you don't like the restaurant, which I always tell the pedestal wives in my inner circle, kind of prepping beforehand. There's a way to prevent yourself from going to restaurants that you don't like. That's called, during the pre-vetting phase, you let him kind of know what type of things that you do like that. And if he is ignoring the branding, he may try to take you somewhere else other than the things that you had planned prior. And that can happen. That's the reason I'm preparing you for the other 10% of men who would ignore the branding, ignore what you're modeling, and they're going to try to either gaslight you or get you to change your mind. And you have to be willing to state that issue and observe him. And then you may have to pull your energy from him. You may have to pull your energy from him is not just pulling it away from him. You're also going to make sure that you're not spending more time with him, that you're not giving him more attention, that you're not giving him more affection. You're going to pull all of that until he is willing to treat you in the way that you want to be treated. But you have to be very cognizant of how you're being treated, because where you start is where you end. And I'm not saying that if you've done it wrong prior, that you can't flip the script and do something differently. I am saying it's going to take time, especially if you've been doing the same things. You've allowed him to treat you badly for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. He's been treating you badly. It takes some time to flip that script and to have everything kind of change, pivot and change for him to get the idea that, and then your modeling has to be on point. You can't waver in your modeling. And since you have a history with him of allowing him to do things that he shouldn't have been able to do prior, your modeling has to be on point where you do not waver, that you stand still and stand tall, and the changes that you have to implement. Trust me, I have some clients going through this right now, where that they got into a relationship before they came across me, and people who talk about these things like myself, and they have to figure out how to do a reset of the relationship. And doing that reset is somewhat rough. It is rough. And I'm not going to tell you it's easy, because bad behavior compounded is layers to unravel in that. So if you have any questions or you have some comments, drop them down in the comment section. So let's go do a quick review of what I'm talking about, how to do it. The first thing you need to do is get your branding on par to what you want it to be and model it. Modeling is the first stage for, like, that's the reason why in psychology, they suggest parents model versus talk, because you can talk a lot, you can communicate a lot, but people are going to pay attention to your actions. Your actions are what's going to influence your environment, not all the talking that you do. So that is your first step. You want to have your branding on point, and you want to model your boundaries and model and show up in a way and how you want to be treated by treating yourself in that manner. The next step is to pay attention to the punishment and rewards, and realize that you're going to have to do this in different stages of the relationship in the first place, because you're going to come across something you've never encountered with another person. If you have maybe this relationship has been longer and now you're dealing with family issues. So you have to understand when to do the punishment and when to do the reward. Tamara says action. Absolutely. So get comfortable with stating exactly what it is that you need. Either it is like I said, it starts from the very beginning. You want to start very early on, especially if this is a new relationship. If this is a new person that you're getting involved with, you want to start from the very first date to teaching them how you want to be treated. Remember, every man is programmed for the woman behind you, not the woman that you are. So since he's programmed based off of that, you don't know what he was able to do. We stay in the time that men can literally mistreat a woman for 20 years and she will stay around. We stay in the time when a woman can literally be mistreated and not receive affection from a man, and she still stay around. So imagine, put yourself in his shoes for a moment. He's been with women that they didn't require anything. They had no standards. They had no boundaries. They didn't care about how they were treated, and they begged him for love, affection, and sex. And so he's thinking he's going to continue to date that type of woman, but he's dating you now. And so he's dating you now. What happens, you need to start teaching him from the very first date. State what we want with words of action. The first step is modeling. Like, model it. Make sure that you have your branding on par. That's the very first thing I'm gonna tell every woman. Because men can sense when you're asking something of him that you won't even do for yourself. And I'm not talking about making it equal. I'm talking about, let's say you don't even like to take yourself out to nice restaurants. Most time you go to fast food. You're not even used to that type of environment of a five-star restaurant. And even if you can't afford to take yourself to one, you want to go around that energy, be around in that area where those restaurants are. So you can kind of get used to how people comport themselves, how people act in that type of environment. Get used to that type of environment so you can model that. Because then he sees a woman who's used to that type of energy, that used to those type of restaurants, and you immediately get some influence from men who want to give influence when he sees that he's dealing with the woman who's used to that. So you just let's push back when you model it and your branding is on point. But let's say he's used to you, he used to other women who didn't ask for anything. So now it's time to use your words. Now you use your words. Now you say, hey, maybe, let's say for instance, maybe the restaurant isn't up to par. Maybe you don't follow me. You didn't follow any of my pre-vetting rules that I give you so that you can make sure you go to a restaurant that's up to par to your standards, and you didn't do any of that. So he takes you to a restaurant where y'all are like literally there's nowhere to sit. Y'all have plastic forks and plastic plates, and this is not something you want to do or repeat. So what I would do is state this. I would say, hey, like, this is a very interesting place. Do you come here a lot? The food seems interesting. This place has a good ambiance. I'm just not used to going to these type of restaurants. Usually I'm used to going to places where we sit down and we have intimate conversations. I'm just not used to this type of restaurant. And then you kind of want to observe what he says from here. If he gives you like a lot of pushback, or he tries to have you change your mind, or he tries to manipulate you, then you realize what you're working with. You're dealing with a guy who is not going to give you that influence, regardless if you're branding on point or not. Like I said, it's a 2-for-1. And then you realize you don't waste your time. I don't want you all to waste your time with a man. Even if you state what you want from him, he isn't going to give it to you, because you're so used to getting everything free from other women that he is not going to live up to your standards or live up to the things that you're used to. He's not going to do it. So pay attention to that. Nothing wrong with like letting the night play out and be okay with that. But you need to put him on that list of maybe I need to block him. This is not going to work out. But let's say he immediately realizes, look at the things, the way that she's modeling, the way that she's showing up, her branding. Look at how she's showing up. Maybe if I want to change with this type of woman, I'm going to have to do something differently. Maybe instead of him getting all bothered and upset by you saying, hey, I'm used to going to different types of restaurants, this is not the type of restaurant I'm used to going to, he says, oh, well, maybe we can go over here. Maybe we can go here on the next day. And you need to reward him for him being open to going on another date, and reward him with it, because you need to go ahead and start setting that foundation of what you want from him. So you're going to reward him with energy and presence, not with sex, not with love, not with affection. You're just going to reward him with energy by being present, maybe being a little bit more animated, maybe being more laughing at his jokes, maybe being a little bit more relaxed. That is what you're going to do. You'll reward him with that. So on the next time that you all meet, you should expect different behavior. If there isn't different behavior, then this is where we're going to go ahead and pull our energy, and we're going to go ahead and, start separating ourselves from him. And I mean separate to the point of we're not going to give him any more of our time or attention, because he's already shown us that he's not willing to be influenced by us. A man who's willing to be influenced by you, when he realizes the restaurant isn't up to your normal, this is not a normal restaurant that you're used to going to, he's probably going to take you somewhere else. That's what you kind of want to see. And feminine, very flexible, very open. He can absolutely make it up to me. He can absolutely show me that he can do better. And usually when a man can see that it's not up to your standards, you're used to better restaurants, you're used to having, doing things that's going to be a little bit more up to par of your standards and the things you're used to doing daily. Men try to meet you where you are. And so maybe after, if the date fall flat, and he realizes I'm not getting anywhere with this girl, I really like this girl, then he may decide to try to take you or do something else with you. Maybe take you shopping after. Maybe take you to an event on the beach. Maybe do something else where he's going to be able to live up to the standards that you have, the things that you are modeling, and the things that you've stated. So yes, you will state with words as long as your modeling is on brand. He has to see that you're the type of woman that he can see. It normally goes to like 5-star restaurants. You're the type of woman that is normally treated to these type of experiences. He can see that. He can see that in the way, not just in the clothing that you have, because a lot of people like to throw on all this, high-end luxury items. He can feel that based off your energy, the way that you move, the confidence that you have, the comfort, being comfortable in the environment that you're in. It doesn't bother you that you're in a 5-star restaurant. You're used to it. He can tell that you're not bothered by it. He can tell that you fit right on in with the other patrons. He can tell that this is your normal. So your modeling has to be on par. Your branding has to be on par. Then it's probably not even going to upset him when you say it with words. But it's also, how do you say it with words? Women have to realize that when you are dealing with a masculine man, they don't like complainers. They don't like people who demand, and they don't like women who feel entitled. So it is also in the words that your words are going to matter in how you go about stating what you need from him. And that's the reason why it's so important that you start with the appreciation first, and then talk about the things that you need. Like, hey, I really like this restaurant. It's so beautiful. I'm having such a wonderful time. Either if you like the restaurant, you can be like, oh, I love this restaurant. I can't wait to go up to another restaurant like this with you, because you always want to be making sure that you encourage and you're teaching him how you want to be treated in every aspect of that date. You don't want him to ever get the idea that you're willing to go to, you're willing to be treated like a beggar. You don't want ever him to get that idea that just because you look beautiful, that you're not modeling or you're open to anything other than great experiences. So that is up to you first. So make sure your words matter. So don't come off as though you're entitled. Don't come off as though you're demanding it. Don't come off as you're combative. Like, kind of keep the same tone of voice. And I always tell my girls, somewhat smile through it, so that way that when you are, relaying it back to him, it's not coming off as though you're angry or you're mad or that you're combative. You kind of want to keep that energy as though I'm still happy to be here. I'm still very appreciative, but I'm very used to different type of experiences. I'm used to different type of restaurants. I'm used to different type of jewelry. I'm just used to a different type of living than he used to giving to me. And you have to teach him that. And that's the reason why I push back at women saying that, oh, this is all manipulation. No, it's basic psychology. You have to teach people how to treat you. People don't come in this world and treat everyone perfectly. And even if they treat you perfectly, they're going to treat you to the standards of perfect that they are used to treating other people. Maybe you require more. And that is a thought that women need to have. Maybe I require more. He's just not used to treating me in the way that I want to be treated. He doesn't make him a bad guy either. Because his idea of being a good guy and treating a girl well, maybe it is to the level of just going to take this woman out to ice cream. And you're to the level of going to a 5-star restaurant, or you're to the level of having luxurious experiences. See, that's a different level. And it's not his fault that he's just learning this about you. You have to be willing to teach him too. So Tamara, hopefully I answered that question. Didn't go all around the bend because I'm long-winded, babe. But I want to make sure every woman understands. Your modeling, your branding has to be on point. Because as soon as it's not on point, men will like be like, hold up, something's wrong, something's off. Why does she feel like she needs a 5-star experience when she looks like she's used to a family dollar experience? So you want to make sure your branding is on point. Then when you are asking for something, stating the things that you need from him, you can kind of tell if he's open to it and open to that type of influence. And then he course corrects and gives you that thing that you want from him, what need from him. Okay. But you have to be willing to teach people how you want to be treated. And this goes across the board, not just men, because it's not that people are bad, because I don't believe that people are bad. I truly do believe that people want to treat you well. People want to do right by you. But the doing right by you may look different by how they have to treat other people and what other people require from them. Other people may not require what you require. So it's up to you to kind of state what you require, observe if that person is willing to do it, and then reward them for that behavior. So if I say I want you to treat me like a queen and I want top tier experiences, and you take me all over, you fly me to luxurious vacations, and we go out to and have these beautiful experiences together, I need to be affirming you for doing that. I need to be appreciating, complimenting you, and like letting you know that I love the treatment that you're giving me, so that you will know. And he will lock that in his unconscious mind that she likes his treatment. So let me do more of it. And then when he doesn't do the treatment, give you those experiences that you're looking for, and you pull back your energy and you pull away from him. It's not, like I said, you can literally answer his phone calls. You ain't got to play that game and not answer his phone calls. You can be polite and answer his phone calls and have a conversation with him, right? You can be polite and have a conversation with him. And maybe he'll bring up the conversation of, hey, I feel like there's something off. And there's nothing wrong with you saying, well, I'm kind of used to, having this particular experience. I'm used to going on dates where we go to 5-star restaurants. I'm used to that. And I don't think that you particularly interested in that. And he's not getting the energy of, oh, she's mad at me, she's angry at me, she's trying to manipulate me. You're just being very honest about where you stand. And you're teaching him how to treat you. And like I said, this is across the board. This is basic psychology. And you're going to get people who are going to say, well, you shouldn't have to do all that. And I'm going to tell you, then I guarantee you, if you would absolutely pick their brains and have a little in-depth conversation with them, they have been turned everywhere but loose when it comes to treatment. And they've had some really horrible experiences because they don't understand. You should be teaching people how to treat you, regardless if it's a man or a woman. It is up to you to teach people how you want to be treated. And it is very simple. We don't have to make this complicated. We don't have to do anything complicated, because I've heard some very complicated tactics and strategies on social media. And I'm like, you don't have to do all that. Just use basic psychology. If he is giving you the treatment that you desire, affirm and approve means give him presence, give him energy, give him feminine energy. Give him that. If he isn't giving you the things that you want to experience with him, pull back your energy. Pull away from him as far as energy wise. Stop giving him so much of your time. Stop giving him so much of your communication. Stop begging him for any love, affection, or any type of sex. And he will either come to you, and this is what we call it. Well, we're pulling him to you. When you have to let him know that he isn't, well, not let him know. When you have to pull your energy back, you can pull him to you. Once you pull your energy away from him, you're going to be pulling him to you, because most people want to know what happened, especially if they like you. Like if they like you, they're interested, they're going to probably contact you and find out what's going on. Guys who aren't interested and they were just looking for a one-night stand or a situationship or friends with benefit type of thing, they're probably going to move on to the next girl who's going to give that to them very quickly. But you're not that girl, okay? So you're not that girl. Look the part, that makes sense. Yes, look the part, model the part too. Like, don't just look the part. Make sure we get, that's the reason why I say it's so important. I think everyone should write down, what is my branding? And be in detail on what that branding looks like and how you want to show up in the world and how you're going to treat yourself. because looking like that queen, you still have to exude queen behavior. Because I think there's a lot of looking like the queen on social media, internet. There's so much look like this, wear this, and you're going to be treated well. But your modeling and branding has to also, you have to be that thing. You have to make sure you model your boundaries. You have to model your standards. You have to model how you want to show up in the world, which is your branding, so that your environment can be influenced by it. Then, when you meet men or women, you need to teach them how you want to be treated, because everyone doesn't have your blueprint, your instructions of how you want to be treated. So it's up to you to teach others how that has to happen for you. So you have to decide when you come on the scene, you meet a man or a woman, like, be willing to speak up for the things that you feel that you need in that relationship, and observe how they take it. Like, if they get upset, or if they try to gaslight you, or if they try to manipulate, or if they're like really combative, then you already know that this person really isn't willing to live up to the branding that I have, the way that I want to model and live my life. They're not going to be a good person to bring into my world, because they're not going to fit. And if that person is willing, then you want to affirm and approve. Like, every action that you want to continue to see, you want to affirm and approve it. This means you want to take the time to appreciate it, compliment it, point it out, and congratulate. You want to say, hey, oh, I'm so happy that you took me to this restaurant. I love going to restaurants like this. This is such, a beautiful restaurant. I love it. And he or she, that people want to know that you are affirming or approving the actions that they're giving you. Like, they want to know that. The more that you do that, the more that they will do it. The more that you affirm and approve of the actions that they're giving you, the more that they will give you more of it. That's the same reason why, if a man disrespects you, okay, he calls you out your name. And instead of you disapproving of that and pulling your energy and giving him less time, and not really giving him time or energy or feminine energy, you go running back to him and doing more for him to get him to change the way he treats you, or you beg for affection or beg for love from him. You're training him that it's okay for him to speak and be disrespectful towards you. That is okay. You want to nip that in the bud immediately. As soon as you start receiving behaviors that are not okay, you need to nip it in the bud. Do not let it pass you by. Do not just be like, oh, well, he had a bad childhood. Oh, well, it's because he's having a bad day. I honestly don't care if he's having a bad day. When it comes to something that is going against my branding or the way that I model it and show up in the world, I'm not the type of person that's going to be disrespectful to other people. I don't expect that back, because that's a part of my branding. That's what I model to the world. I care about people, so I want that back. And how I'm going to get that back? I'm going to make sure that I teach people how to treat me. And the people who do not want to treat me well, I am going to let them go. I'm going to let them go, and they will not be a part of my life. I feel like we don't have to complicate things. They're not complicated. It's very easy. It's all psychology. And you have to do this for your friend, for your family, for the people that you consider to be a part of your world. You want positive behavior from them. You need to be willing to affirm and approve the positive behavior that you want to continue to see. And then you need to be willing to let people go when they're not giving you the behaviors that you want to see. The behaviors that do not line up with your branding. Because I come into a world and I model being a good woman. I model being a good person, a good friend. I model being that. That is a part of my branding of who I am. So I expect it back. And if I'm not receiving that back, I do give people grace. I give them the opportunity. I teach them how I need to be treated. Because just because you over there treating Aunt Sue and all of your friends all kind of way, and you turn them every way but loose, that is not the way that Braille is allowed to be treated. Because it's not a part of my branding. right? It's all psychology and observation. It is. It is all psychology and observation. And it is absolutely needed. It is needed. You need to teach your kids this because they need to teach people how to treat them. Because people will only treat you according to the people that they treated prior. Like they maybe not have the experience of how to treat you. And yes, people could be good, but maybe their good is not good enough. And so give them that grace to be able to teach them how you want to be treated. But make sure your modeling and branding is on point because people can sense when it's a disconnect. And they're like, why is they're asking for this? Their branding and modeling is saying something else. And then people think they're being manipulated when there's a disconnect between the two. And you can do this for everything. Like he gives you a horrible gift. Maybe he doesn't know you like well. Maybe you didn't do any of the pre-vetting that I encourage ladies to do. You did none of that. You didn't watch that video. And so you don't incorporate that in your dating. And so you go on this date with this guy. And this guy takes you to something that's like the 7-Eleven. And this is where you get the opportunity to teach him how you want to be treated. Instead of getting upset and getting mad and getting angry and getting on and going viral on social media, teach people how you want to be treated. A lot of people are mostly good. Yes, there's some people out here they're not going to treat you good no matter what your branding is. Then you can eliminate them very quickly. If they're not open to treat you in the way that you want to be treated, then you can eliminate that person by just being able to state how you want to be treated. Remember, make sure you take care with your tone. We're not trying to come off as though we're a dictator. We're not trying to come off as though we're entitled. We're not trying to come off as though we got a lot of attitude. We just want to state what we want from that person and observe how they handle it. Are they okay with it? Maybe they're going to course correct. Maybe they're going to do something different. That's great. That's what we want to see. And we're going to reward them with more of our energy, more of our presence, more of our engagement, more of our feminine energy. They're going to get the reward from that. They're going to feel rewarded by that. But let's say they don't want to give us that because they're used to being around people who don't require as much. Maybe you're too much for him. Maybe you're too much for her. And so she doesn't want to do any of those things. Then you're just going to pull yourself away out of that. You're not going to continue to try to get in the trenches to try to change them because they've already told you how they want to treat you and it's not desirable to you. You don't want to be treated that way. And they're not willing to change anything. They're not willing to course correct. They're not willing to give you any influence. So the best thing you can do is pull away and pull your energy, your time, your communication away from that person and go and surround yourself with people who are willing to, live up to the standards and the experiences that you desire in your life. Okay, so we've already been over an hour. All right, so I don't see any questions or comments. And while I'm giving you all opportunity to drop any comments or any questions that you have down below, I just want to remind you, we're still enrolling for the Co-Creator Mastermind. Go ahead and grab your seat because we're filling up. I'm so excited about it because I truly do believe in having that branding, like that modeling. That modeling and branding is so important because you will absolutely disqualify yourself from experiences that you don't want when your branding and modeling is on point. And yes, we're going to touch on that in the Co-Creator Mastermind because it's going to be needed. It's going to be needed for you to be able to create and use your creative energy to tap into your natural gifts so you can create extra income. So if you want to go ahead and grab your spot in the Co-Creator Mastermind. You know I like intimate spaces, so I try not to overpack my workshops or any of my mastermind. And this is a mastermind. This is not considered a workshop. That is the reason why I have a member discount for any of my inner circle members. But it's all basic psychology. So when you hear people saying, oh, it's manipulation, it's not manipulation to teach people how you want to be treated. If a person is operating in this world and they're just operating from a space of not telling anyone anything, not modeling anything, then people don't know how to take you. And what people will do, they're just going to revert back to dealing with you in the way that they deal with others. If you don't want to be dealt with in the way that they deal with people, then you need to be willing to speak up and just say, hey, like, I'm not used to being spoken in that way. Like, I don't even curse. I'm not used to being cursed at. And observe how he handles that. If he's okay with that and he gets on board, he'd be like, okay, I apologize. I'm not going to curse anymore. Then you're going to reward him with a smile. You can reward him with your energy and presence. You can reward him even just by sitting up closer, like, getting closer across from him. Let him see that that pleases you. Give him that positive reinforcement that pleases you, that he's willing to not curse just because this is something that you require. This is a part of your branding. This is your part of your modeling and how you show up in the world. And you can utilize this with everything, even down to, hey, you don't like the bracelet that you received or the earrings that you received, or you didn't like the gift that he gave you. If a man gives you a gift, you don't want to deny it. You don't want to act like it doesn't mean anything. You don't want to blow up and act like, oh my gosh, this is the wrong thing. How could you do this? Unless you have an established relationship with him. Then I'm going to tell you got a yellow flag, because there's something wrong if a man sees the modeling and branding and he knows you. He knows how you show up in the world. He knows your branding. He knows how you model things. And he decides to give you something opposite of that deliberately. That is a yellow flag. That is a yellow flag. I would suggest that you're going to have to bring that up. You're going to have to bring that and state the issue when it comes to that, so that he'll know that's the issue. Because it may be deliberate in order to kind of lower your standards. Because there's people out here that exist in that way. They exist to lower your standards. That is the reason why I feel like women are told to accept whatever, and that is manipulation if they teach people how to treat them. Like, if you actually look at it, that's what I feel like. I feel like they are teaching, they don't want you to be taught how to treat a person, so they teach you that it's manipulation. All right, so I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. And I appreciate the Inner Circle and the Pedestal Wives for being here all the way to the end, because I know it's just you. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for your support. I appreciate you. Daisy B, thank you for making that distinction. Absolutely, we have to, because if you're already in a relationship, you got a problem. You absolutely got a problem, because he's aware of your branding and he decided to ignore it. You have a problem, and you have to address it before it goes any deeper or gets any worse. Because some people exist just to lower your standards. But thank you all for being here. It's time for my lunch, and I will see you all in the next one. Y'all have a great day. Bye.